the more kavanah we'll have. Yeah. Okay. So now it's not an easy daf, but it's relatively, it's a fast daf, but that's what happens sometimes when you have daf. All right. So we left off. Welcome back, Grape. Good to see you. Yeah. So yesterday we had the shaila, where a machlokes, whether a woman makes a neder from. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If we have a machlokes when a woman makes a neder from two loaves of bread, one loaf of bread, let's say whole wheat, and one loaf of bread that's good. So one of them is a tsar for her not to be able to eat because she made a neder, and one of them is not a tsar. So with a machlokes, whether he could be made for half of it or not. Yeah, meaning, is he allowed to be made for? Do we piggyback one on the other? The one meaning the bread that's going to cause her pain. Most definitely, he could be made for. Question is, can he also be made for the one that doesn't cause her pain? Meaning, once he's being made for, let him do the one that really he can't be made for or not. Now, where this comes in, and it's going to come in a few blot, Hashem, is when you can a husband just be made for part of the neder, right? Let's say a woman makes a neder not to eat meat and drink wine. That's a nazir, so let's not go with that. We'll get to that soon. But let's say she makes a neder, she's not drinking his schnapps and not eating macaroni, let's say. Oh, you found that picture, Jesse. Very good. Right. So she made a neder from that, and the husband says, you know what, I don't mind if she doesn't I don't want her drinking my schnapps. So I'm only going to be for that she shouldn't eat macaroni, but I'm not going to be made for the schnapps one because I don't want to drink my schnapps, right? Can a husband do that? Does he have the koyach to only be made for half or not? So that's a Gemara later. So that's what this shiloh also plays into that. If he only is able to be made for the entire thing, so then here he can't be made for the entire thing because he doesn't have not all of it is inu. I mean, the bread that she doesn't mind eating is not he can't be made because it's not going to cause her pain. But bottom line is that's the Gemara's shaila. Can you or can you not? Can the husband be made for both nedarim, meaning let one piggyback on the other or not? Yeah, then we go with that. So that's if we don't understand that the shaila, then it's gonna get complicated. All right. So again, just one more time, just to make sure we're clear on it. He's allowed to be made for. She made two nedarim. One is going to cause her pain. One's not going to cause her pain. So the one that causes her pain, he could be made for. Can he also be made for the one that doesn't cause her pain, even though really it would not be under his jurisdiction to do that? That's the shaila, right? So Rabbi Yochanan, according to the second girsa, said he can only do. Yeah.
Excuse me. I think you said two different things. First, you said a few minutes ago, she made one net that had two parts. Now you're saying she made two different nedarim. If it's two different nedarim, what do they have to do with each other?
Right. So that's going to be part of the question, right? But from here, yeah, you're right. It's going to play into it later on in a couple of daf. This one right here is she said it in one. The Ran says that she said at the same time, right? She said it at the same. Here she said at the same time. The shaila is how it's going to play in a few blot from now, which is separate nedarim, right? So again, here she made two nedarim at the same time. He could only be made for half. So is he allowed to be made for the whole thing or not? Rabbi Yochanan said not. He's not. He's only allowed to be made for the part that's causing her pain, and that's it. So now Eisvei, second line up from the bottom on pay base on the base. Eisvei, Haisha should not be nazir. A woman made a neder when she's a nazir. And then, for whatever reason, she decided on purpose to drink wine and become tamei, which obviously a nazir is not allowed to do. Now, the nazir can't do that. So she became a nazirah, and then she reneged on it on purpose. Yeah, on Talmud Aleph now.
But she's still a Hungarian. She's not letting her hair grow. She's still Hungarian.
It doesn't say that part, right? Very good. Very good. So then, so she absorbs, literally means she absorbs 40 makos, right? Because obviously she did it on purpose, so she's going to get makos. But let's say her husband was made for it, and she didn't know that he was made for it, right? So now again, she's doing an avera. She didn't know that it wasn't an avera anymore because her husband nixed the nizirus, right? She thought she was doing an avera. And then she decided to drink wine and meaning in her eyes, she thought she was doing a chet, but her husband really was made for it behind her back. What present gave her, and now Mamela, she's not going to get Maina something as Sarbayim. She doesn't get makos. Now before we continue, I don't know why I I was traveling most of the day, I didn't have time to look into it too much. But is that so? I mean, you see from this, let's say somebody thinks he's doing an avera, he doesn't end up doing an avera. Did he get the avera? Right? Let's say a guy goes and he says, I'm going to McDonald's. So his friend finds out and he runs into McDonald's and gets a hamburger from chatas and gives it to the guy behind the counter and says, here, give this to my friend. So that when he comes in, he'll eat it. You'll give him a hamburger. He thinks he's eating McDonald's and he's really eating kosher. Are you over on the Isser or not?
The Isser of eating treif, which he didn't eat?
Right. So he didn't eat treif, but that was his kavanah.
So his machshava was to eat treif and he didn't eat treif.
Right. You could have that's one shaila, and then you could have the other shaila, which is the other shaila where he thinks he's eating kosher and he's not eating, and then he ends up eating treif.
But yeah, right? Don't we always say
our name on
when it comes to
should say our name on the plastic? What?
Don't we always say for a guy machshava is kamaisa, but for a yid machshava is not kamaisa?
So right. So that's where it plays in. That's what plays into here, but I don't know. I don't remember what we end up saying with this din.
I'm saying it's a Gemara. The Gemara says machshava is not kamaisa when it comes to yid, and machshava is kamaisa when it comes to guy. What more do you need?
No, I know Hanami, but I don't remember the parameters of it. I just don't remember the parameters of it. But
I'm saying when would you say machshava is kamaisa when it comes to yid?
No. I don't think she'd be chayiv, but I don't know for whatever.
No, I'm asking. It's not machshava. It's not an avera. It's not machshava kamaisa is a shaila of avera? Is it a shaila of a chatas? Obviously not. You didn't do an avera.
No. It's not a shaila of a chatas. It's a shaila of something. I don't know why I have it in my head. But either way, this Gemara is clearly like what you're saying, Akiva, that what's the problem? She doesn't get makos, right? Okay, so what's the kasha though? And if you say that a woman can be made for somebody who's I'm sorry, not the woman, the husband could be made for to a masana, ve'ain made for l'shem masana, like Rabbi Yochanan said, meaning that the husband could only be made for the neder on the loaf of bread that his wife likes. The loaf of bread that his wife doesn't like, he can't be made for. Dilma min hayayin the isla tzayra hafila. So maybe the husband could be made for from yayin. Min chartan and min zag lo hafila. Chartan and zagin is the seeds and the skins of the grapes. Maybe he can't be made for that because that's no big pain for her. Meaning for her to make another not to drink wine. Okay, that's a tsar for her, so he could be mad to that. But the seeds and the skins, who wants to have that? So maybe he cannot be made for it. The haloi isla tsara, she doesn't have pain. And she should get 40 makos because the nizirus was not nullified by the husband. Right? That part of the conscience is very, very simple. Meaning you could split up a grape. You can split up grape from wine. Right? Wine would be a tsar, so that, or even with it, meaning the wine will be a tsar, but the grapes and the seeds will not be a tsar. So maybe the husband couldn't be mat to the nether, and she was a legitimate nazir. She should get makos.
You could have nazir l'chatzai. Sounds like you could be nazir.
Get that. Very good. So
what's the Gemara's having?
No. So wait till the end of the Gemara, because the Gemara is going to go and try to separate tumah from.
I'm asking Stam. Anything you can't split what's us or not in nizirus.
No, but if it's two different, if you can.
It's one.
Well, that's really the
teretz. That's what I'm saying. It's an nazir. It's not an isser. She's not making a nether to not eat the stuff. She's saying I'm a nazir, and everything that's included in nazir, I'm nazir from.
Right. Correct. So that's what it says. Rav Yosef ain't nizirus l'chatzayin. There's no nizirus for half. You can't do half. Either you're in or you're out. Right, which is what Akiva was saying. Akiva was just saying he doesn't understand the Havamina, right? Yeah, because here you can't. Once you're making a neder from drinking wine, you're also out from the seeds and from the skins. So it's mashma that and this is obviously nazir is the next mesechta, right? But so Abai says in mashma that you're saying there's only nizirus for chatzayin, but ha korban lachatzi nizirus hika, but there is a korban for chatzi nizirus. Meaning, what does it mean, korban for chatzi nizirus? So a nazir, after the month that they keep the nizirus, right? The way nizirus works is they're on nazir for a month. After the month, they got to bring what's the whole list of korbanos? 3 korbanos, right? An oila, a chatas, and a shlamim. A full, the full gamut of korbanos. Right? You got to bring an oila, and a shlamim, and a chatas. Right? So maybe what happens if what's the case? So what happens if she's a nazir for 15 days and then the husband's mated the nether? So does that mean that she's a nazir for 30 and that she should bring the korbanos for the first 15 days or bring half korbanos? Right? So it's mashma from here that is the nizirus is not for half, but the korban is for half. Right? So that's what Abai is asking. We know that it's both. There's no nizirus for half, and there's no korban for half, and that's it. Now the Gemara goes off a little bit on a tangent to discuss this. So Meisvei, they asked the kasha on this. Aisha shenadra. Now this is, imagine what happened here to this woman. Aisha shenadra ben nazir. She made a nether that she was going to be a nazir. Then this part is left out of the Gemara, and then she became tamei. Now when a nazir becomes tamei, there's a different set of korbanos that she has to bring. Right? So then she became a nazir, a nazirah. Then she became tamei. So now she has one set of korbanos. Now what happens when a nazir becomes tamei is that they have to bring korbanos after they become tar, and then they have to start a new nizirus, and then they're gonna have to bring their regular standard post nizirus korbanos. So what happened here is that she became a tamei. She was mafresh her behema because she became tamei. Then her husband went, after she separated the korbanos, her husband went and was mefer the whole nizirus. So now what happened is that she separated korbanos that she really didn't need to separate because lemafreya, she wasn't even a nazir, right? So what korbanos does she bring? So mevia chatas ha'oif. She brings the chatas ha'oif, which is the one that she has to bring after the bird chatas that she brings after she becomes tamei. Ve'ena mevia oilas ha'oif. She doesn't bring the oilas ha'oif, which is the standard korban after a nazir. Now you're going to say, well, the amrit ain't korban l'chatzi nazirus, right? But if you say there's no korban for half nazirus, I'm via chatas ha'oif. Why is she bringing a chatas ha'oif? She wasn't even a nazir in the first place, right? So what are you saying? She was another for 15 days. She was another for 15 days. That's why she's bringing it.
Well, right? She became tamei while she was a nazir.
Correct, but now we're ruining it. We're taking it back.
It's not afraid that she wasn't a nazir. She was a nazir. She just didn't complete her nizirus. She was a nazir when she became tumah, right? Hafara is only mikano obel, like we said in the Ran.
Correct. But
so she did. She was tamei herself while she was a nazirah. It's not like it never happened. The nizirus. It's just you didn't complete it, so you don't bring korbanos.
Okay, so that's all part of the cheshbon here. How we look at it like that. How do we look at it? So 1 second. So Gemara continues. So again, why is she bringing korbanos? So Gemara says, "Ve'elamai yesh korban l'chatzi nazir." So what are you going to say? That the reason why she's bringing a korban is because there's such a thing. Since, like Akiva said, that since she was a nazir for 15 days, she brings a korban. So if that's the case, then she has to bring all 3. Then at shalosh payim is vaylasui. She has to bring all 3, right? Chatas, oilo, shlamim. The chatas and the oilo, shlamim. Right? It's a relatively straightforward question. Again, this lady became a nazir. Then she became tamei, so she has to bring her tamei korbanos. Then her husband was made for her nether, so now she doesn't have to bring her korban, her tamei korbanos.
Yaakov.
Right? What's that? Let me just finish the whole sentence. Now she doesn't have to bring a korban tamei. Then they say, no, okay, so then what does she do? She just brings the oif for becoming tamei. I was asking why. If there's no korban for chatzi, so then she shouldn't have to bring anything. And if we do say it's a korban for chatzi, she has to bring all 3 while she only bringing 1. Yeah, what are you saying?
Oh, by a man. He's a nazir for a week, and he says to himself, "This is stupid. Let me be a nazir." So he drinks a bottle of wine, takes a haircut, and goes to Levaya. So now what does he do? He can't bring the 3 korbanos because he wasn't a nazir for 30 days, right?
Right.
He might get an oynish for doing what he did, but he's not a nazir. So why is she a nazir?
She's not. He was made for it.
I'm saying the people are asking Kashi, should be bringing the korban. Why should she bring the korban? She was never a nazir. A nazir is 30 days. A nazir is not 15 days.
Right. Yeah.
If a man decided after 15 days, I don't want to do this anymore. So he's not a nazir. Whatever happens to him, whatever, I don't know, obviously. But he doesn't bring the 3 korbanos because he wasn't a nazir.
He wasn't a nazir. But Lamaisa, at that point, she did. See, that gets into the same thing. Did she do anything wrong now? Meaning, let's say, meaning she has a free. The truth is, the husband can only be matter the neder, right? Only the day he hears that she's a nazir, right?
Yeah, so he heard it. Yes, so he heard it the 15th day.
I'm saying, so what she could do. So what you're saying basically, if a woman is smart, she wants to become a nazir. So what she should do is she shouldn't tell her husband. And like this, if she decides she can't handle it, then she lets her husband know, by the way, I'm a nazir. Or if she become tamei by mistake, or she drank wine by mistake, she'd tell him, by the way, I became a nazir. Can you retroactively make me not a nazir? Right? Anyways, okay, but that's what it is. So that's the kasha. So the Gemara says, "Elaloilam ain korban l'chatzin nizirus." This teretz is a wild teretz. Really, there's no korban l'chatzin nizirus. The chatas ha'oif, the masiyam hashim the chatas al hasafik. The reason why she brings a chatas ha'oif because we bring chatas ha'oif because of the suffix. Meaning, there is a kula about chatas ha'oif. Chatas ha'oif is brought by a woman after she has a baby. So the woman has to bring two korbanos. One of them is a chatas ha'oif. And she brings it after she has a baby. What happens if she has a miscarriage and you don't know if it's 40 days or not? Right, so you have no idea if it's 40 days or not. So should she bring a korban? Should she not bring a korban? So what's the problem? Just bring the korban. No, the problem is if you're not chayv a korban, so then you're bringing kachim, taking chulin into the azara, right? So what do? So we bring it anyways. You bring it anyways. The Gemara says because that's a suffix. Because a bird has a kula from a suffix. Right, and also it's the Gemara here doesn't say, but the Gemara in Nazir says that we're talking about according to Rabbi Eliezer Akfar, who holds that the Nazir is a shtickle avera. So since it's a shtickle avera, she should still bring a korban even though she cut her nazirus short. That's a whole different thing, right? Because we know that you're not supposed to be a nazir, but he has a sheet that says you're really not supposed to be a nazir. So that she was a nazir for 15 days, let's make her bring a korban anyways. But that's the Shem will discuss that in Nazir. Fine. Now we're back to the original case where Rabbi Yochanan says that if she made a neder on a half a loaf of bread, and not a half a loaf, she made 2 nedarim, 1 neder on 2 loaves of bread. One loaf she likes, one loaf she doesn't like. So what's the din? So Rabbi Yochanan said he can only be made for the one on the loaf that she likes. So Eisvei ha'isha shenodar b'nazir b'nitmeis, and a woman who became a nazir when she became tamei v'achar labayla, and then afterwards her baal was made for it. So mevia chatas ha'oif, she brings a chatas ha'oif. Ve'im mevia oilas ha'oif, and she doesn't bring the oilas ha'oif. Yeah, meaning again, the same case as before, similar. She became a nazir, she became tamei, and then the husband was made for it. So she brings the chatas ha'oif, but she doesn't bring the oilas ha'oif, right? Be amrit made for l'misana, ve'im made for l'shem misana. And if you're going to say that she's made for that the husband could be made for the part that causes her pain and not the part that doesn't cause her pain. On tamei base now, Dilma miyayin dislate nazirah for maybe this is Akiva. This is what I think you were getting at before. Dilma miyayin digal nazirah for maybe the husband could only be made for because yayin. If a woman goes without wine, again, wine back then wasn't wine nowadays. Wine back then was the soda. So, or the regular drink. So if she would make a neder of a nazir from having wine, that's a big tsar. But mitumas meis, the less latzara loyafrla. Maybe he wasn't made for the neder of tumas meis because that's not that's no big pain for her to become tamei tumas meis. She's not interested in going to levias, right? It's not a tsar for her to tell her, by the way, you can't go to levias, right? So maybe it's only half and half. And clearly the Gemara says not like that. So Gemara answers, and we had this Gemara before. I don't remember where, though I know we had it before. Amri, Tumas Meis Nami Isla Tzaira. No, it is a tsar for her to become Tamei Meis. It says that in Koheles, right? That a chai, that somebody living should take it to el liba, should put it to his heart, meaning take death to the heart. But Tanya, what does it mean that a chai should put it to his heart? The yispad somebody who, if you're going to say haspedim on somebody else, they're going to say haspedim on you. The yivchain lay. If you're going to cry over people, they're going to cry over you. The yikfaru. If you're going to help bury people, so they're going to help bury you. So memela, people want to be part of levias because they want to be able to. They want people to come to their levias. Right?
She doesn't go to this. Nazir doesn't go to the Zayin Kroivim, right? Like a Kayan.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So then it's poshut. Why is there more like making whole gyrations about it?
Why? Meaning no.
Nebuchadnezzar's mother died when she was a nazirah. No.
You mean so that would be a tsar to her? Even that would be a tsar to her. You wanted the Gemara to just say that?
Yeah.
That maybe there's a potential death that would be a tsar to her. Unless we're just wrong in our information. That could be. I don't think she does. Anybody know if she becomes tamei to the Shiva Krayim? Right? Okay, but there's an important lesson to be learned from this, that if you're going to say a spadim on other people, then they're going to say a spadim on you, right?
Isn't this Gemara like Mike Cotton, or I think it was in Mike? I think we had a similar Gemara in Mike Cotton, no?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
a similar idea.
I would guess
you should always reciprocate.
Yeah, the only reason why I think it's not a Mike Cotton because that's way too long ago that I would remember it. That's the only reason why I think. No, it's also in Ksubas. It's in Ksubas too.
It sounds like a Mike Cotton Gemara.
Yeah,
with that spade.
It's both.
Can I say something to Aaron Kaplan for a minute or no?
Vada, why not?
Aaron, we were by a levaya for me and your father for a good chaver of ours many years ago, and somebody said something so idiotic at the levaya. I grabbed your father, and I said, we were outside. We were all outside. So I grabbed your father. I said, Rabbi Hudi, you're younger than me, so you're going to be by my levaya. Make sure nobody says that by my levaya. Please make sure.
Okay, that's. Should we put her on the chat? Anyways, this is Mamish, the last.
We have it in recording here on YouTube. It's all
he
good.
didn't say what it is. He didn't say what it is.
Yeah.
But this is Mamish, the last simon in Shulchan Aruch, and Shulchan Aruch Yeridea, how you're supposed to be, you're supposed to go to people, what do you call it? You're supposed to go to Levias and a spadim. It doesn't say Nichama Balaam. That's what's interesting. Right? I think I said over the Maisa then, but it's good to say over the Maisa. It's late, but it's a good joke from Chatzkel Abramsky. So Chatzkel Abramsky wasn't going to any of the guys in the yeshiva's chasanas. So they went to him and they told him, you're not going to the guys in the yeshiva's chasanas. Nobody's going to come to your chasana. He said, no, I'm not worried about that. If I don't go to their chasanas, they're all going to come to my levaya, right? Because he's learning so much, he's going to be the gadol. Everybody goes to the gadol, right? Yeah. Anyways, so that's what the Gemara is saying here now. Fine, let's talk the Mishnah. Let's just do a little bit and then we'll stop because it's late. I apologize. I appreciate everybody having patience with me. Talk the Mishnah. Kainam, he makes.
Yeah, but this is what we had originally. This was the time we had originally. This isn't late.
That's true. I know. I was going to see if Landau is Landau on? No. So we got to give it to him.
No, you had to give him more time. You had to give him more like a couple days notice.
we got to give it to Landau. Okay. Anyways, Kainam shani nena lebrius. If the woman says, I'm not getting any hana from anybody. I'm going to be totally independent. I'm getting no hana from brius. It's an interesting choice of words, from creations. Does that mean animals too? If she has a pet, I wasn't sure. Yeah, but she says brius. Obviously, it includes humans. Ain't a yachal lahafar?
Isn't someone being mefer? Then she's getting hana from that. She's getting hana from the person being mefer.
I hear that. But okay, but the husband, she's getting hana from the one being mefer. Very good. I'm not sure. That's good. Maybe we should learn later. Though. Let me ask good questions. Yeah. So kind of. Okay, I don't know.
That would at least be a gita v'yadei bain ke'echad. The hana comes after the hafara.
Right. Well, the truth is, he's ain't a yachal lahafar. The truth is.
Right. Even if he was,
the truth is, he can't be. Right. He can't. So he can't be mefer. What?
She doesn't want it.
What?
She doesn't want to
That's
be
the
made.
same. Well, I don't know. That's the question. It could be the Rabban. You asked this a lot. Like, why is she making this neder for? Like, she doesn't like Mamadashach. If she made the neder, so why does she want her husband to be made for it? Elamai, it must be she did it in the heat of the moment, and she, got sugar. You're aware that happens to whatever? Yeah.
Only to us men.
There you go. Anyway, so she made the neder. Now she needs the husband to be made for it. So he's not allowed to be made for it. Why not? Because what's the tsar? What's the tsar? But what you're going to see in the Gemara. But for Yechaylu Lahanis be leket shikha peya. But since she's not benefiting from anybody, so now can she go into the field? Leket is the stuff that the guy in the field they leave over. Shikha is what's forgotten, what they forget in the field, and peya is the corner of each field. That's all left for aniyim. So that doesn't belong to anybody. That's hefker. So since it's hefker, she's allowed to.
She just said that I can't benefit from anybody, and he can't be made for that. And the question is, like, why?
Yes, but she's allowed to.
Why couldn't he be? I don't understand.
He's not allowed to be made for it because she has a way to live.
What do you mean? He just lost out a lot.
Well, the Gemara is going to ask right off the bat: is he included in the brius? Is the husband included in the brius or not? That's going to be
but let's say the husband's not in the brius. Let's say the husband's not in the brius. He just lost out a lot of people helping.
Who's helping?
I don't know. Anyway, what do you mean? My neighbor wants to help.
She's not. No, she's not allowed to. She made a neder.
So that's a direct effect on the husband.
Why? Because he has to help her more.
Because he has to do everything then.
It's a tsar of the husband. He asked a good question.
That's a big tsar of the husband. I don't hear you.
The Gemara yesterday said that if she made a neder that she's not going to be neder from the grocery store that he has pull him, he has credit in, right? Then it's a tsar for him. So I don't know. I wish I had. Right. I wish I had this whole.
And didn't we have a case where a guy left? We had a case in Ksubas where a guy left and he didn't have to pay back the guy, the Good Samaritan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Then the Gemara says, the Mishnah says, but she is allowed to get benefit from this. Why? Because it's hefker. It doesn't belong to anybody. Right? So therefore that she could be benefit from. Then if a guy says, I'm not, the Kohanim and Levim are not allowed to be benefiting from me. So Yitlu al korban, so the Kohanim and Levim could come take the chumas and maises from al korban. It doesn't belong to him. Right? You're the 10% or the 50, 140, 50, 60 doesn't belong to him. So therefore they can come take it from him even if he says no. But if he says Kohanim elu, Levim elu nenimli, but if he says these specific Kohanim and Levim are not allowed to be nena from me, then Yitlu acher, then only others are allowed to take it from him. These guys can't. Right? Yeah. What time is it? Okay, because we did the sugi, let's just do a couple lines. So the Gemara says, Alma efshir de mitzana b'delay. From the first part of the Mishnah, why is it that she makes a neder that she's not benefiting from anybody, he can't be made for? So the Mishnah, the Gemara is assuming the reason is because she could benefit from her husband, and her husband's enough. Now, Naftali is saying that that's a tsar for the husband. But the Gemara seems to be saying that it's the reason why he can't be made for her because she has a husband to take care of her, right? But the problem is, Michlal de Baal La B'Chlal Brius is what you have to say, is that when she said she's making a neder against all creatures, her husband is not one of those. She means excluding her husband. But then the problem is, Ema Seifa says, she's able to benefit from leket shikha and peya, right? But mashma, she's only able to eat from the food for the poor people. But she's not allowed to eat from her husband. So you see that the husband is included in the brius. So basically, Gemara is asking, which one is it? Is the husband included in this when she makes a neder against all brius, or not? That's the Gemara's question. There's a few terutzim, so I guess we'll stop here because it's late, and we'll do the terutzim tomorrow. Right, we're stopping around 7-8 lines up from the bottom. All right, I appreciate the Olam's patience with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Rabbi Stein, I'm assuming you're away for Shabbos.
No, I'm coming back for Shabbos. I'm just by the Ikavix for 3 days.
It's Monday. Shabbos is 3 states away.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic.
I told Elio he's got to put your phone in for service for 2 days.
You should know I was FaceTiming from the Delta has new, I don't know, Aaron, Delta announced last week that it's free. We tried to have shear, but the problem was it went down below 10,000 feet. The kids are shear, but I was on FaceTiming my kids fully, the whole flight.
Jacob, I showed you I've done that.
No, but you called into a number. This is Mamish FaceTime with seeing and the whole seeing.
I've done that, but yeah, that's only if you buy the what do you call it? The upgraded version.
Not anymore. It's free now. It's free now.
Yeah, Delta has free Wi-Fi now.
Free Wi-Fi for everyone, even like the plebes?
Everybody. Yes. What? Everybody. Yep. They just announced it last week. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
man.
it. Sounds like they got a customer.
No, I always fly them. I always end up only using the what's it called? The messaging part.
Akiva.
I'm just trying to save people.
Yeah, what door are you guys by?
Aaron, we're not on
what door? Door number 9. You here already? Should I come out?
Yeah, 9. Is that 9 south or north?
9 north.
Yeah, come out.
All right.